Okay, guys, welcome to our session today. And I'm pretty sure that the majority of us who are joining this session are very anticipating to hear the insights that you guys have. So just as a recap, this is a panel-based tech webinar that will help you get some insights about the technology career and what it entails. We have Kanana, Bundi from Safaricom, and Felix, Biego, who is an embedded software engineer. So before we start the session, I'll give Felix maybe 1 or 2 minutes to just do an intro of who you are, what you do. Then we can go to Kanana. So welcome, guys. Felix, you can start us.
All right, thank you, Douglas. Thanks for having me here. So my name is Felix Biego. I'm an embedded software engineer. It's a fancy way of saying I'm an IoT developer or engineer. So I mostly deal with IoT stuff. I think this is something great Douglas has done so that we can share insights on what we have in this technology career. Yeah, thank you.
Anna, thank you, Felix, for that.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Kanana Bundi Brenda. I am a user experience designer at Safaricom PLC. So, yeah, I guess I'm very excited to be here today, very excited to talk with you and engage and learn from each other.
Thank you for that. I understand you guys are one of the smartest minds that I've met, and I'll be really glad to learn a lot from what you people have done. So on to our first thing. Kanana, you are working in Safaricom. How did you get yourself into the technology career? Was it something that you wanted, or is it circumstantial that you found yourself in the technology career?
Okay, so I wanted to work in tech. So for the longest time, actually, I was studying in campus. I did a course called Business Innovation and Technology Management in JQuat. I was in JQuat. So I knew I wanted to do tech, but I was not sure what exactly tech that I needed to do. So I got to know about UX design. I used to do a lot of graphics, more graphics than tech. So knew about UX design in my third year when I went for attachment, where we met Douglas, actually. So I met a guy there who was doing Web Design Matters, and he told me, oh, you do your graphics design. Do you think you'd want to consider this in tech? Because he knew I was interested in tech and I do graphics. So he told me, okay, check out this thing called UX design. So sent me a few resources and I just started actively learning. So that was around 2019. So in 2020, COVID year, I was in fourth year and we had to go home for like 8 months, 9 months. So when we were home, I just, started learning about UX and what that entails and studying and looking for resources. So when I finished campus 2020, at the end of 2020, I got a job, a different role somewhere else. So while I was there, it was not tech related, but I just kept actively trying to look for opportunities in tech. So eventually I landed in Safaricom. That was in 2022, around April. So that's how I transitioned into tech, and it is something I really wanted to do. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. Felix, how did you get yourself into this process?
All right. I would say for me, it has been a journey. I think it started way back when I was younger. I used to be interested in electronics. So one of the things I used to do is take apart electronics, not knowing how to build them back together. So I will end up destroying most of the electronics at home. Then when I joined high school, I did computer as an elective subject. I think it kind of kickstarted something in my mind that I wanted to focus more on computer-related things and also on the electronic side. Then in campus, I joined and did computer science. And it was during this period that I learned about Arduino. It's an IoT development platform. So it was really a game changer for me because having to write code that can control things in the physical world was mind-blowing for me. So that is how I started this IoT development journey. And since then, it has been an interesting journey. I think up to today, this is what I'm still doing and is what I love doing the most.
Okay. Thank you for that insight. So on to the very first thing. When someone is starting up a technology career or anything related to tech, especially when it's the first time this person is getting into this process, what are some of the skills, especially technical skills, you would advise them to first focus on for the short term, then the long term? So maybe we can start with you, Felix. Some of the things that someone would really focus on the short term, then the long term technical skills.
All right. I think that will be, so on my side, I will say programming. I think programming is being almost used almost everywhere. And that is one of the things that you need to get acquainted with. And on that side, the most important thing is having that knowledge of data structures and algorithms. This is something really key and fundamental, especially when you want to do programming and coding. Then on the other side, you also need to have, I will say, collaboration skills. Like you need to know how to work with other people. Especially when it comes to projects, you'll find that you'll not be the only one working on something. So you need to work as a team. So you need to have that skill of working together as a team.
Okay. Kanana, from your end.
Okay, so I'll say that tech is wide. It's really, really wide in and of itself. And it depends on which specific craft you want to specialize in or to decide you want to do in tech. So I like what Felix has said in terms of, there's the soft skill side, teamwork, communication, and then now there's the technical skill side of things. So as a UI UX designer, and maybe I'll just say, in case anyone doesn't know, UI UX is user interface, user experience designer. So this is where we do design in terms of products and experiences, websites, applications. So for us, you need skills like research. You need to be able to really understand the user because UX and UI really sits in the middle of business, product, and the user. So you're designing an experience for the user. So as you design for the user, you need to be able to know how they think, how they feel, what problem you're trying to solve for them. So that's more on the research side. You need to also now have the user experience skill and also the user interface skill by itself. So being able to know what are the basic underlying principles that you need to do in order to make design that looks good, but also meets the user's needs, that is intuitive to the user and that makes sense for them. So a couple of different skills, but we really don't need more on the programming experience, as I think some people think that to be a UX designer, you need to know how to code. You really don't, but you need to know how to do a lot of research, empathy, and then the design part of things, being able to do visual design, graphic, not really graphic, but just the visual design aspect. And there are principles that encompass the designing of an experience of a user. So both on the interface side and also on the experience side. Yeah.
Okay. Now that all of you guys are working, I don't know how easy or hard it was for you to learn your first job or the current job that you are working in right now. Felix, how was it? How was the experience to tell you first job, and or how hard was it, or how easy was it for you?
All right, I think that's an interesting question. I think when I just finished campus, that was 2019. The next year was COVID year, so there was not much of activity going on. So I mean, this was a bit challenging in terms of job search and maybe trying to get somewhere to kind of work. But what I really did on my side is focus on learning, getting more skills, especially when it comes to IoT development. So it took me about 1.5 years of doing IoT projects on my own before I landed my first job, which the IoT skills that I developed helped me to land this job, because this is something I used to do projects, post them online, LinkedIn, Facebook, all these platforms. I will just share a short video of a project that I've done, something, let's say, controlling something like lights using your phone. Then I will post online. It was during this period that one of my current boss reached out to me through LinkedIn. And that is how I came about to join this company that I'm in right now.
Interesting. So, Felix, if I'm getting you right, you really did a lot of social media engagements when it comes to the work that you are doing.
Yes, I will advise most people, especially if you want to get into tech, and it's not about the skills that you get from school, because you'll find that most of these campuses, they just teach the bare minimum, the basics. The rest, you have to kind of push yourself further to get some of these skills, because this is what is really needed out here, not what I would say. Okay, what you're taught in school, it serves as the base for the what you'll be using out there.
Okay, thank you. Kanana, how was it? How did you learn where you are working currently, or the first job that you ever got?
So, as I mentioned, my first job was not really in tech. I got an internship after finishing campus, or because I finished campus in 2020 December. So just by good chance, immediately landed an internship, and I worked as an administrative intern somewhere actually I worked there for 1.5 years. So I moved into tech. So what happened is I really was learning UI UX as a skill on the side on my job. So I decided to, keep working on the skill, keep learning, I had enrolled to some school online in COVID time. So I still had my membership. So kept learning in terms of the skills and got certifications. So that, I think, is what helped me land my current role. But I got in as a graduate trainee at Safaricom in 2022, and then moved to now UI UX as now designer. So it was more of a lot of opportunities and applying to lots of opportunities. I think I used to apply, especially in 2021. I really used to apply to lots of tech jobs, lots of UX jobs, and got rejections. So these things happen, and we need to not be surprised when they happen. It just means we need to keep trying and trying and trying again. So I eventually landed the role at Safaricom as a UI UX designer graduate trainee. So that's how I got to land in this role, and it took a lot of learning, a lot of preparation, but it was a very, let's say, just preparedness and opportunity coming together to meet. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, there's usually this debate when it comes to, and Felix, you had at least mentioned it earlier on, when it comes to the degree certifications that we have in comparison with the skills, the hand-on skills that we have, especially when it comes to the technology careers. So degree is important, skills important, which is which. Felix, if you don't mind, you can share something about that. Then we hear from Kanana.
Okay, I think degree is important. It being important doesn't mean it will always land you a job. So you need to also develop on your skills. So I mean, degree, the current situation, I will say, let's say like in Kenya, a lot of people are graduating, but what difference, what is the difference between you and another person? So you see, after graduating, then you need to develop some skills outside, I would say, campus that will help you in the out here, because I would say the job market is it's a very challenging space. So you need to have more than what you were taught in school.
Okay. Kanana, do you have some input about that?
Yeah, I mean, just to add on layer on what Felix has said, like if you think about everyone graduating and think about it as a black dot on a screen, right? We have so many people, right? But what will set you apart from everyone else? You have to really try and go beyond. I mean, degrees are important, and let's all get our degrees. As I said, I didn't get what I did was not tech related, but now I'm working in a tech career. It was more of a career switch. So really, you need a degree. It's important. I mean, it's good. It shows that you're learned, and it's important for qualification, because most jobs will tell you at least you need to have an undergraduate degree. But then now, what else will set you apart from everyone else in the crowd? And as Felix had said earlier, like, school will give you the basic that you need, but then how do you then build on top of that to grow yourself as a person? So it's important, but you need to go beyond that and get more skills, get more experience in order to set yourself apart. Yeah.
I hope you can still hear me.
Yes, now we can hear you.
All right. So we are looking at better skills and now the basic education that we get at undergraduate level. So does it place you at an advantaged position if you have a degree? Because we've always been having these online discussions. People are flaunting online that they never, even in reputable companies like Google, Microsoft, people are flaunting how they never got university degrees. And right now they're in these big tech jobs. I don't know what would be your advice to people who bought into this notion that you can start from anywhere, get into a boot camp, and maybe ignore the very primary undergrad certification. What would be your input on that? Felix, maybe?
All right. I think that will be a very dangerous notion to have, especially with the current situation. I will advise that do what it takes to get that degree if you can. Then also focus on adding more skills to that. But having that mindset of I'll just go to a boot camp and get some programming knowledge. Okay, so some of the people might be successful, but I will advise you, if you really can, just get that degree.
Okay. So fast forward. When it comes to job hunting, let's talk about job hunting. How do you position yourself, especially as a tech guy? How do you really position yourself so that you are quote unquote noticed, or if your line is self-employment or getting into some reputable company, how do you really position yourself? Especially now you can talk about the online presence, and now when it comes to also crafting your CVs and hacking the tech interviews? I would love to hear that from Kanana first, then Felix.
Okay, I would say, today I'm in the mood of using analogies. So let me use an analogy. Think about it as being in school, you have like a backpack, right? So I don't know if you guys have watched the Hunger Games. There's a time I was a really big fan of that. But then imagine you need a backpack and you're going somewhere into some forest or some jungle somewhere, and you need to pick up, things that you need along the journey. So think about the things that you do to upskill as, like you're putting all these things in your backpack because they're going to be helpful for somewhere in the future. So one of the things in the tech world is that tech is constantly changing, constantly evolving. I mean, like right now, we are in the age of AI, right? So Gen AI. So everyone is really talking about Gen AI, ChatGPT, all these things. Will AI replace my job or not? So there's a lot that's going on. And even where I work, I mean, we are really encouraged to upskill and don't just be comfortable with where you are at the moment. So yes, for job hunting, you need to really stand out in terms of, remember the black dot analogy, you need to probably be a yellow triangle for you to be noticed. So think about what is it that people are not doing, or what is it that I need to do. So in terms of skills, in terms of reading, in terms of being online, like really try to, even they say that you learn better by teaching others. So what can you, as you keep learning, can you maybe share share on your LinkedIn, share on your Twitter, share on a blog if you like to write. If you're more into videos or vlogging, can you do a YouTube and just, put out the ideas that you learn in terms of, your tech skills, so that you're constantly growing, constantly evolving, because tech is wide. And I mean, even there are things today that I keep learning that about UI UX that I need to, constantly learn about. And I'd also say leverage on technology, especially for the job application part of it. There's lots of tools right now in terms of Gen AI tools that can really help you craft a really good CV or resume that you can use for your job applications. So think about all those things. You need these certifications. These are the things you're putting in your backpack. You'll need them because they'll be helpful somewhere. You probably might not see it today and see where maybe this Gen AI career or skill will help me in the future, but it's going to pay off somewhere. So learning is constant. Learning doesn't stop. And there's someone who said that if you stop learning, then you stop growing. So keep learning, keep upskilling, and then also leverage on technology in terms of, how even when you get like a job interview and you have like a description of the role, you can use ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini, the Google one, to just ask and learn prompt engineering and say, okay, this is the description. What do you think I need to prepare? Or, the way they say, you tell ChatGPT to act as a hiring manager, what skills would you like me to see? Would you like to see in this role? And then get those skills and start working on them. So a lot of it is, now we have, in the age of AI, a lot of technology to help us, a lot of resources online. I mean, AI really will curate, tell ChatGPT what courses do I need to learn to become like an IoT engineer or a DevOps guy or a UI UX designer or a software developer, and it will give you lots of recommendations. There are also lots of free resources online that you can start learning on and start to use and see if this works for me or if this doesn't. Yeah, so that's what I'd say in a nutshell.
Okay, thank you. Felix, how about our CVs? How about our social media presence? How about how we prepare for the interviews?
All right. I think I'll first start off by saying that when it comes to programming, the most, I would say, critical thing is having that background of working in, I would say, various projects, even if it's a personal project. And one thing Kanana said is learning is a continuous process. When you are learning something, you get to understand, I would say, get that deeper level of understanding, especially when you're building something. So learn by doing something. And when it comes to programming and now job hunting, I think one of the critical things that I would say most companies will have check is your GitHub profile. So when you're learning, build something, share, collaborate with others on open source projects. This helps build your, I would call it a CV, especially on a GitHub. So the more projects you do, the more you learn. Now, when it comes to job hunting, I think that will help you really stand out, especially if you've worked on most projects which you've shared online on your GitHub, then that will help you stand out. Yeah.
Felix, are you done?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Thank you for that. I would really be interested to know how a typical days look like on your end, Nana. When you start your day in the morning as a person, how does it look like until the evening?
Okay, wow. You want my work day or just my day in general?
Work day.
My work day. Okay. So my work day is usually very interesting because there's like so many moving parts that we work on in our UI UX space. So depending on the project I'm working on, I will probably get into a meeting in the morning. And let me just use a typical Monday morning. I'll get into a meeting and just like give updates of what I'm going to be focusing on or working on in the week. And then after that, I will probably have a stand-up for the team that I'm supporting and also now share my updates in the team. And then now from there, start working. If I'm doing a project that is, maybe I'm doing the research aspect of it, I'll probably be spending some time working on a research plan, or if we've done the research, I'll be writing a report, or if we're doing a design process, I'll be now designing on Figma. We use Figma to do our designs. And then after that, I'll probably have a design review session with other designers to just, do a bit of critique in the afternoon. And that really helps. It really, because sometimes when you're designing, you can design in a blind spot. So you need other people to help critique and guide you and tell you, okay, this one you're probably doing well, or you missed this here. So it really helps to get that feedback from other designers. So that typically would happen on like a Monday afternoon, just towards the close of the day. And then, yeah, pretty much that's my day. That's my day as a designer. Or now, if we need to go to the field, we'll be in the field, or we'll be in the office, now designing actively. So it varies. It's not like a one routine thing. It's different depending on the day. Yeah.
Thank you. I hear you. Felix, how about your side? How does a typical day look for you as an embedded software engineer or an IoT developer?
Okay, it's almost similar to Kanana. I mean, you'll find that most of the time it's meetings. But for me, aside from the meeting side, I also spend time on VS Code with embedded stuff, maybe doing some soldering, building something, testing, that kind of stuff.
Felix, that's pretty much fine. We know meetings even take up the time that we should work, but we never say such things publicly. So
That's so true. Too many meetings. Can we reduce on the meetings?
okay, let's shift gears to now. When it comes to your work, we have the technical skills, but we also have these soft skills. What are some of the soft skills that have really stood out for you on your end? And maybe before you respond to that, because we have people following what we are doing. If you have any question, you can just type it in the live chat section. Then I'll pick it up to the panelists. So we can start with you, Kanana. What are some of the soft skills that you have found standing out for you, especially as a person working in one of the most reputable companies here in Kenya?
Right. I think the one thing Felix mentioned when we started was teamwork. We work in an agile setup. So for those who may not know what that means, it means we work in like small teams. So I'll be the designer, we'll have a front end, a back end, a quality engineer. We'll have like different crafts together, right? We're all working on a project, but we'll have the different skills or the crafts together. That's why we need so many meetings to align to align on how we are doing in terms of, progress updates or where maybe stakeholder alignments. So we need to be able to work in a team because you will really not work by yourself, right? You'll work in a team. Sometimes you'll work in more than one team. You'll work in like 3, 4, 5 teams. Sometimes you need to be able to learn how to, collaborate with other designers on the job. You need to be able to collaborate with other now team members. How do I work with a front-end engineer, for example? Or how does what backend is doing plug into what I do? Or how does the solutions architects work plug into mine? So that collaboration and teamwork. There is also needs to be a lot of communication. You have to be a very good communicator so that you're able to express your concerns if you need to. Communication also, not just verbally, but also like on email, because sometimes you'll be required to send emails to stakeholders or partners or your teammates or your boss. You need to be able to know how to do all that effectively. And what else? What other skill do you need? There's quite a number. I think the other one you need, I think, is a lot of empathy. Being able to understand the other person and know how, you know, how to manage all that. So we also need stakeholder management. It's a skill we keep saying that we need to have sometimes. Being able to know how to, manage, not like managing them because you're not doing your job, but just being able to know how to handle the different relationships that cut across, your work stream, from your line manager to your developer to the person who's going to test everything, how everything works out. So yeah, those are some that I can mention at the moment.
Thank you, Kanana, for that. Felix, do you have some input?
Yeah, I think I will agree with what Kanana said. For me, the two key things will be communication and teamwork. When it comes to projects, you will not be working alone, so you'll have to work with a team. And when you're working with a team, you need to be really clear about how you handle things and how you interact with the other team members. Let's say you want to build an IoT system. Of course, this needs some backend side. Then I'll have to sit down with the backend engineer, agree on how we are going to structure how the data from the device will go back to the platform. So you need to have that communication and teamwork skill.
Yeah, appreciate your feedback. I would also be interested to know, how do you balance a technology career with your life, the work-life balance? Is it that you spend a lot of time, until you get to points where people are glorifying how busy you are, you're just pushing code, committing code, and doing a lot of things? How do you ensure you as a tech person or someone in the tech spaces, you're having a very balanced work life? How do you go about that? Start with you, Felix.
Okay, I think that is something that has usually been challenging, having that work-life balance. For me personally, I think I will say when it comes to such, what I usually do is, let's say, okay, I've been working too much, I need to take a break. So when taking a break, I do the things that kind of, I will say, helps me like release. Let's say, like if there is something that is bothering me, I need to do something that will help me focus, like shift my focus from the work so that I don't get too much stress. I would say do something that you really like, not something that, of course, it can be either related to work or not, but mostly I would say do something outside of work. And don't spend too much time on, I would say, staring at your screen, especially for developers, because you get that eye strain. It also kind of brings problems to you. So yeah, that will be my advice.
Wow, that's a very good advice. And I know majority of us are already feeling they are victims of using a lot of time to, being behind that thing. Nana, what do you have when it comes to that?
I was smiling when Felix was talking because I'm like, I think in our world, work-life balance is a fallacy, right, Felix? Well,
Yeah, I agree.
it kind of is anyway. But how I like to think about it is more like work-life integration, because sometimes you might not really find, that perfect balance, because there's always so much to do and always so much to learn, or so much to always keep up with. But I'd say just find your balance, in the sense of, so one of my very good friends, she's also a techie now. She keeps telling me, like, be able to know when you feel like, maybe I can push a bit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but then Thursday and Friday, I'll slow down a bit. Like, you have to learn how you operate. And as Felix has said, do what you love. And if you don't know what you love, you can try out stuff. Like, do a whole bunch of things. You'll find something that you love somewhere in between there. So, you can try working out, or, a hobby over the weekend, go hiking, or, just people find an activity to do that will really, when you feel like I am at my end, or I am like at the peak this week, I can turn to it. But well, it's tricky. As Felix has said, we are trying to learn. Even me, I'm trying to learn. It's a balance. It's really something that I think a lot of us struggle with, and we will probably learn how to do it one day. But at the moment, it's a little bit tricky. But it's just being able to know what your bandwidth is and how you can now plug in. One of my bosses usually says you work hard, but you also play hard. So you need to learn how to find that difference, or find what working hard and playing hard is for you. Yeah.
Okay. Work hard as you play. That's it. We have some questions from the chat box by Deborah Onchari. But before we get to those questions, if you also have any questions, you can type them there. Then we'll get to hear that. So before we talk about awards for both you, Kanana and Felix, maybe you can also have this at the back of your mind, a question from the live chat. Deborah is asking, how long will it take for someone to feel that they are ready to apply for a job? There's also another question, how will someone overcome this imposter syndrome? So just have that at the back of your mind about being ready for applying a job, then also how to overcome imposter syndrome. We never did a session on that, but maybe you can hear what you people have to say. But before we get into that, I have seen Felix, you getting awarded several times. One of the things that I admire. I also see Kanana's profile with full of awards. I don't know how you people making it, and where exactly do you need to position yourself as a person for you, to be in such spaces? And what do awards mean? Does it mean if I'm not getting one, I'm not doing enough? Or if I get one, then it means I am really doing a lot? So, but as you share, you can first tell us also the very first instance or that specific award that you can say, wow, this really stood out for me, and maybe give some brief detail about it. So we can view Felix.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall. I don't think I've received any award for anything. But yeah, for me, it's more about sharing, I will say, your work. Let's say you work on some personal projects, then keep sharing that online. Let people know what you're doing. I think it really helps to build that, I will say, image of you, like a public image or something that people will associate you with. Let's say you've been building IoT stuff, then when someone thinks of IoT in Kenya, you will think of a name, right? So when you're doing something, just do it with your heart, give it your all. It will always come back sometime.
Okay, Felix. It was more of recognition, per se, not really the trophy or what. It's more of recognition that someone is able to see what you're doing and recognize you for that. Okay. So, Nana, what about you on your end? There are situations where you've been recognized, awarded, people can see what you're doing and say, oh, yeah, this is what being recognized, and which is one that really stood out for you?
Oh, my apologies. We usually have a CEO awards in our company, an annual one. So I happened to be part of a team that got awarded what was it? It was a technovation team. So this is actually, it was an award more in the category of CSR. So outside, it's within my job, but then outside my job, I do CSR with women in technology in Safaricom. So we have different initiatives that we run, and one of those initiatives qualified or won an award for a technovation in the category of education and transforming lives. The purpose for our organization is transforming lives. So we won an award in that category, and that was really, really quite something on my end, because it really felt that, in as much as, yes, we do it on a volunteer basis, it was more of, even that can be recognized and people can see that we're doing a good job. And be able to acknowledge that. So that was really, really, really something for me personally, because this is something we really do on a voluntary basis, and it was quite rewarding getting that. But yeah, as Felix has said, like, do whatever you do it with all your heart, and not necessarily because you will get an award somewhere. And even if you don't, it's okay, because you know at the end of the day you gave it your all and you gave it your best, and really that's what counts. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I think I've ever worked with innovation a little bit, the WIT. Anyway, there are a few more questions from the live chat. Amani Destiny is asking, how did you, even though you answered a little bit of this, how did you feel about your first job and how did you secure it? We covered that. Maybe you can replay the video, Amani, you'll get to learn that. But there's also the second bit that talks about motivation. So how is the how feeling non-motivated sometimes? Think maybe let me just paraphrase it. He's talking about days when you're feeling non-motivated to do anything. How do you overcome that? In the morning, you feel your energy level is zero. How do you go about it? Whoever is ready can start. Hey, Kanana, if you are ready, you can start.
Okay. I will say, what will I say about that? So yes, of course, energy, it will not always be 100%. Sometimes you don't feel like you want to do this, but I'd say that it's probably important to have a big, scary, audacious goal, like, that makes you want to get out of bed every morning. Even if you don't want to do it, find a way to really, like, pump yourself up and cheer yourself on, because you really need to keep the momentum going, because at the end of the day, you, like, tell yourself it's for my own good, because it's, all about my career, it's about my growth. So find a way to do that. So personally, I think I love listening to podcasts a lot. And my close friends will tell you I listen to a lot of podcasts and I love to read. So sometimes that works for me when maybe you don't feel like, hey, today you're just like, today my motivation is like below sea level. You find like some podcast that maybe cheers you up or reminds you, motivates you, or makes you think about the why. So I think have that big why that really will make you going or keep you going. And don't be afraid. Like, it happens to everyone. It happens to the best of us. We'll not always have 100% level energy all the time, but you need to find a way. And some of these things that we're talking about, like being able to recharge or, do something that you love outside of like your normal everyday life, is going to really help, bring back that energy level. If it's sleeping, I mean, sometimes in this tech career you don't sleep enough, but if sleeping is the thing for you, please sleep. And some of these things, drink a lot of water, some of these things really help. When you take care of yourself, then you're able to have energy for doing life. So find a way to find the things that, make you energized. Some people love to go out and eat. Some people love to, hike. And when you go see the mountains, then your energy level goes up to the roof. So find the thing that really works for you, and that can keep you going and keep you motivated. Yeah.
Thank you. I love the bit of eating. I know very many people are happy about it. So, Felix, in the days when you wake up and feel with Arduino board, I don't really feel I'm in the energy to work with my Arduino board today. What do you usually do?
Yeah, I think it's along the same lines as Kanana has talked about. So if something is not working, that code is not compiling, you can't figure out how to do something, just take a break. Maybe even take a walk. It will clear your mind. You'll get more energy. And you'll start understanding where the problem is coming from, because some of these things, when you're stressed, you don't have that, I would say, you'll not think straight, right? So you need to take a break, clear your mind, then you'll figure out where the issue is coming from, then you can solve that problem. So just take a break or do something you love.
Okay. With your permission, you can spare some more 10 minutes with us so to answer some remaining questions. Timothy Chumo in the chat had asked about what courses you did. We had already covered that, Timothy. Maybe you can replay the video. There's something about people get into the tech spaces knowing it really has a lot of money, which I believe it does. And positioning yourself to places where now you are able to get this kind of monetary return from the tech industry. So, something around that would be, how do you negotiate for salary when you're looking for a job? Now, as a tech person, is it based on what you can do, the number of years you can do? There is notion about you're not paying me for how I was able to do this in minutes. I mean, you are paying for, even if someone was to do that in 10 days and I do it for 10 minutes, so you are paying for my skills. So something around that, how do you really negotiate your salary or your pay as a tech person? Kanana.
Okay, I'd start by saying that negotiation is a skill, a learnable skill. So you can learn how to negotiate. And I think a lot of us, we don't get it right the first time, but you need to learn how to negotiate. So perhaps if you get a job interview or you're applying for a role, do your research and figure out what are people in my job, kind of the job that I'm looking for, or the job that I have been called to. What do those people get paid? How much they get paid in Kenya, internationally? Try ask around if you can. Find the data online, just find a way to find that information, because then that is going to help you it's going to give you like an upper hand in terms of negotiation, and then just go out and learn learn the skill of negotiating. Yeah, it's a whole skill by itself. Maybe we probably need another session, but learn how to negotiate for yourself, because a lot of the times, and I have had this quite from a number of people, and even just read it in some books, that when you're given an offer, most of the time they'll give you an offer expecting that you will ask or will push back or you negotiate your salary, right? So when they give you the first offer, probably don't take it. Negotiate for a higher one, because that's probably usually the lowest they can go, and then you can now start negotiating from there. So they sometimes, or most of the times, HR will have a buffer in terms of the salary, or you find that in most companies there's like a range of salary for maybe your job grade or your skill category. So just learn how to do that negotiation and learn how to, fight for yourself in that regard. Yeah, but it's a learnable skill and anyone can learn how to negotiate.
Thank you. So research, comparison, and also really understanding where you are in the marketplace. Felix, what would be your input about negotiating salary as we come to an end?
All right. I think when it comes to, I would say, the tech industry and programming, usually it's more about what you can offer, let's say, to a company in terms of your skills. So for me, I will advise, if you are new to the industry, let's say you just finished campus, I will say focus more on learning skills. Let's say you're given a job offer, try and weigh in. If you're given a salary of a certain range, try and see if it can sustain you. But I will say focus more on the learning part. This will help you later on it will also help you gain experience so that later on when you, let's say, advancing, you will at least have some skills and also some experience from this company. So I will say try and consider as much taking this offer, but don't okay, try and negotiate what's best for you to survive. Let's say if you're living somewhere, try and see, is this enough for me to survive for the month? Like, yeah, try and have something that can sustain you, but focus more on the learning part.
Okay, Felix, thank you for that. So now that we are talking about learning while on the job, how do you manage it? How do you guys keep up with the current trend? So you would also talk about something to do with AI. Is AI taking our jobs? So as you mentioned about how you can grow and still expand your skills while on the job, because you would find a tech role, then someone is settled and they maybe settle in the same place without learning, then they're overtaken maybe because it is dynamic. How do you ensure you continuously learn while on the job? And also mention something about AI. Is it taking away our jobs or what? Felix, maybe you can start with you.
All right. I think that is one thing that you really need to balance, getting the job done while also learning. But you'll find also that most of these jobs, you'll get to interact with people that have more, I would say, more skills than you. So you also get to learn from them while also working with them. On the AI part, for me, I see AI as a catalyst. I would say, you'll still be needed to do something, but AI will help you advance more. Like it will give you an upper hand when doing something. So AI replacing, I mean, it can replace some jobs. I'm not 100% sure which jobs can be replaced by AI at the moment. But what I see is use AI to enhance, let's say, your skills, or use it to let it be something that can help you to do something more effectively.
Okay. Thank you for that, Felix. Back to you, Kanana. How do you continuously learn, and what's your input about AI, especially nowadays you would call, if I'm allowed to use the company name, would call and Zuri kicking back to you. So does it mean Zuri is going to replace some of these people that we usually call for replacing our lines and doing all that? Yeah.
Hey. So, how do I learn? Learning is continuous, as we've said. It's hard, but it's necessary. As Felix has said, you learn from the people that you work with. That's one form of it. There are continuous upskilling courses that you need to keep up with, because like tech is like every day there's something new, in like the next year. Oh, probably ChatGPT will, be way behind. Okay, probably not behind us, but they'd be like GPT 4 or 5, there's 4 already, so maybe 5 or 6. So like really, it's like a balance, the balance that we said, and I think this is why we don't have work-life balance, Felix. Because on the one hand, you have to work on your job, but then on the other hand, you have to try and keep up with the learning, keep up with the tech, keep up with what is happening, like now for me in my craft. So it's a balance, and having to know like what should I learn, what do I need to learn that's emerging in terms of technology, and also what has been there that I need to now come in and say, okay, this needs to be, I need to learn this skill, and maybe this is going to be helpful for my career. So I'd say that one is just a balance, so finding a balance, but you really have to learn and keep learning all the time. So about AI taking our jobs, I will say that yes, no, AI will not take our jobs. Yes, as Felix has said, it will come probably to automate some jobs. So, for example, it would be easier for if, you know, we all were talking to Zuri instead of calling customer care, which means, you know, you have to call customer care all the, like, there's like different people. So definitely some of these things will be resolved by AI. But now what does that mean for AI? So there's some course we were learning and on AI. So there's an article that says that AI will not replace our jobs, will not replace humans, but humans with AI will replace the humans without AI. So we as people, if I'm in a tech role and I don't know how to use AI, I mean, AI is going to really help me automate my tasks. Like, it's going to help me do a lot more and be a lot more efficient as a designer or as a tech person. And that efficiency will not probably be at the same level with someone who does not have or use AI. So AI will not replace humans. It will replace some jobs, but humans without AI will be replaced by humans with AI. I think that's the comment I can give to summarize that whole discussion of AI taking our jobs or not.
Okay, thank you. This question in the live chat replay as we come to an end. I would also combine it with this. So Amani Destiny is asking about something related to marketing, and I could also combine that with something to do with entrepreneurship, innovation, and also now as a tech person, you might want to get some extra income with regard to whatever you are doing, or you would want, this is my full-time job, so how do I get some income out of my tech role, and how do I market what I'm already doing? Felix, in one of your I think it was on LinkedIn, I saw you mention about you being a freelance IoT developer. So in connection with that, how do you market your what you do, the work that you do, and any innovation that you do, or something that would bring you some monetary income? So we can start with you, Felix.
All right. I think when it comes to freelance, it's almost the same thing as I would say a regular job, because you have to really stand out to get more clients. So it's more about building your skills, sharing them, letting I would say let the world know what you can do. That is how you market yourself. Share projects you do online. This will help you stand out, especially when clients are looking for someone to do something. Maybe they'll have seen, I saw someone posted something that I need to do, then I'll reach out to the person directly. So sharing your projects online is something that will really help you.
So, okay, without skipping a question, maybe Kanana, you can help us answer this. Imposter syndrome. You're never feeling enough. So you wake up in the morning, someone got hired, you go sleep at night, you realize another actually got hired, and they got their certification, they build this, they build that, they did this, they got awarded. How do you handle that now that you're one person who uses LinkedIn alone, when the pressure is decreasing or increasing? So how do you go about it? Imposter syndrome.
So wait, there was also another question with combined with imposter syndrome, or it's just that? I
You
think
can
there were
summarize.
questions you said we put at the back of our minds.
Yes. So I'm just trying to save time so that you can combine that as you respond uniformly.
Okay. So I'd say that imposter syndrome, how do I call it? I mean, there's always, in the grand scheme of things in life, there's always going to be someone who's smarter than you, taller, shorter. Like there's that whole, you know, like ladder sort of. So if you're looking for someone who's going to be better than you, you'll always find there's always going to be someone better at you. Maybe not at everything, at some things, and at some things you're better than other people in certain regards. So there's always that. There's someone probably who's more disadvantaged than I am, and there's of course someone who's on the other side who's much more privileged than I am. So I guess imposter syndrome sometimes is it might not really, I'd say that it might not really go away forever and ever. Sometimes, I mean, we get imposter syndrome, but there's something very interesting that I learned, especially about when you feel like, oh my goodness, like I don't think I can do this or something. The same feeling you feel when you're nervous about something is the same feeling that your brain goes through when you're excited about something. Like your brain doesn't know the difference. Like the same way, maybe the brain waves, I think how they go when you're feeling nervous or anxious is the same that they go when you're feeling excited, apparently, scientists say. So when maybe you're feeling imposter syndrome or you're feeling like, hey, how do I got this or I don't think I am there yet, it's important to maybe reframe that and look at it in a different light and say, okay, maybe I can turn this around and say, I am not where I need to be yet. How do I get there? And sometimes it's just about, there's also this other guy who says you dance with the fear. So if you're feeling afraid, do it. Do it while you're afraid, and you'll figure it out along the way. So imposter syndrome will always probably be there, but you now need to see what can you like do to be able to put yourself in a state of mind where you are looking at it in a different light or in a different perspective, so that you're saying, okay, I'm here, but I need to be there. So how do I bridge this gap if I feel like maybe it's my skills that are not yet there? And then if you're given something to do or given a task to do it, even if you feel like I'm not there yet. Dance with the fear and do it even when you're feeling afraid, when you're feeling like you're a bit shaky. Do it anyway, and you learn as you go. Yeah, so that's how I would address the question on imposter syndrome. I hope that helps whoever asked it. Yeah.
Okay, I believe they've been answered. So unfortunately, we need to come to an end. But before we do that, I would first give you a session to do your parting shot. And if you have any other thing, you can also say in brief. Then if you can also be kind enough to share your socials, because I know many people are watching you and they would really want to, how can I link up with that specific guy who was talking about IoT, or how can I link up with this lady who was talking about, technovation and every other thing. So you would also share your socials, the one that people can get you easily. And maybe if you're open to mentorship. So Felix, your parting shot, we end the session.
All right, for me, I will say build, learn, share.
Okay, and how can we get you on social media?
All right, so maybe you can search me on Google, Felix Biego. I think you'll find most of my social stuff.
I really love your confidence that available on Google. I've never had someone say so. Okay, that's something enough. So anyone who wants to link up with Felix Biego, you can just Google. I also hope you're available on GPT or whatever platform. So Kanana, what's your parting shot and where can we get you?
Okay, my parting shot is everything you do is on the everything you probably want is on the other side of what is difficult right now. So don't be afraid of the difficult stuff. Don't be afraid of doing the hard things and, doing the difficult things that you need to do. Because before you get to the other side, you have to pass through that uncomfortable place before you get there. So yeah, do the hard things and don't be afraid of the difficult stuff. You have to go through it to get to the other side. You can find me on social media anywhere. Most places, Kanana Bundi, actually everywhere. Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, okay, X. Medium, I have a blog. I write about design and life. And that's, yeah, Behance, Kanana, Bundi, everywhere. You can also just Google, you'll see, you probably see a list. As Felix has said, just Google and you'll see everything. So yeah, that's me.
Wow, I really love that. You guys have really made it until people can just Google and get you. But before I release you, Felix, what's one fun fact about you, in Kanana? Fun fact, apart from now your careers and okay, it could be related, but just one fun fact about you, Felix.
This is an interesting one. Yeah. Okay. For me, no, this is really, it's really hard to. Maybe Kanana.
Let's
Okay.
take his hard questions. But a fun fact, I think I love plants. I am a plant mom. Yeah. So I have several babies or plants that I keep. So yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. You can guess how yes the career can get until one doesn't even recognize. But I think something about Felix is now that I ever heard him say he loves music. So he was complaining about these people who put sugar in music. So was really ranting about that. He would rather go buy a yogurt. Okay. So guys, thank you. Thank you so much. I can't be grateful enough for you sacrificing your time to be here. I hope to see you in other sessions. Welcome on board. And for those who are following what we are doing online, you can subscribe to our channel, help us grow our learning community. Also, feel free to join us in our WhatsApp group, learn about the basics of web design and every other thing that we are doing. If you had any other thing to catch up with our panelists, you can Google them, and I guess you'll have a good time with them. So thank you guys, and bye for today.
Bye. Thank you for your time. Thank you.